I want to go to the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line. Honored to have with us our good friend, Congressman Guy Reschenthaler. Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Todd, thanks for having me on. I always enjoy it.
All right, Congressman, let's get to this. What's your take on, first of all, Pelosi going to visit Taiwan and the reaction from China?
Well, I think that the speaker should be commended for not backing down in the face of Chinese threats and Chinese aggression. Remember, if she were to have not gone like the White House wanted and like the Pentagon wanted, we would have looked very weak as a nation. And no foreign country should dictate to members of Congress, especially the Speaker of the House, which countries they can and cannot visit. So I think she should be commended for going and not backing down. I think that Joe Biden, his administration, the Pentagon, top military brass should be viewed with some skepticism that they were trying to undermine a member of Congress who is going to Taiwan. Also, the statements from Kirby, I think Kirby is like our version of Baghdad Bob, the Pentagon spokesperson. When Kirby is sitting there saying that we recognize communist China, not the Taiwanese government, that's a problem. We need to end the ambiguity. We need to end this one China policy and start viewing Taiwan correctly as a free and independent nation.
No, I'm with you on that, and that bothered me to hear Kirby yesterday from the White House platform say that we have no interest. We're not interested in an independent Taiwan. I think that especially sends a terrible message when when Nancy Pelosi is heading over there.
Well, especially that it's spoken from an admiral. I know he's in the press corps, but he was a former admiral nonetheless. Taiwan is think of it from a military point of view, a Navy point of view, as an unsinkable aircraft carrier. It's incredibly important in what we call the first island chain, and that's why Taiwan has gone back and forth numerous times between powers. China's claim over it is very weak. Just the fact that Chiang Kai-shek's army retreated to Taiwan does not give communist China the right to claim Taiwan. Before that, it was a Japanese colony. I believe the Dutch had it as a colony before that. And the original inhabitants of Taiwan were actually much more similar to the Polynesians that are out the South Pacific and Hawaii, et cetera, than they are with mainland China. It's an interesting history. I know because I was there in 2019. I went on a visit myself.
Congressman, why are the Chinese so enraged that Pelosi is making a visit? It's the first time, I think, since Newt Gingrich back in the 1990s, a high-level American official has gone there. But why the outrage?
Well, the outrage, first off, they are emboldened to be outraged because Biden is so weak. They view Biden in the United States now as a paper tiger, largely because our failure in Afghanistan, our failure to get the Ukraine war under control, and the chaos we have at home, particularly on the southern border. So the weakness that you see from Biden and Democrats really invites the aggression from China. That's number one. Number two, I truly believe that communist China is getting ready to invade Taiwan in the midterm. And the fact that they have Nancy Pelosi going over, the Speaker of the House, gives Taiwan a lot of diplomatic credit in the free world. So, of course, they're going to be outraged. But we should not back down in the face of that aggression. It was the right thing for the Speaker to continue on her trip. And Joe Biden, Kirby, the Pentagon, they are the ones that are at fault for mishandling this.
Congressman Guy Reschenthaler on the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line. Congressman, I was reading a piece by Thomas Friedman over at the New York Times, and he's very concerned about what's happening with China and Taiwan. Buried in that story, though, was probably a much larger story in that the Biden administration has apparently grave concerns working with Zelensky over in Ukraine, now acknowledging all the concerns we've had from day one about the corruption and how the money is being used over there.
Right. Well, as far as Thomas Friedman goes, it's rich coming from this so-called foreign policy expert. Thomas Friedman, much like Biden, has been wrong on all foreign policy issues for the last 20 years. Remember, if you go back and read the Lexus and the Olive Tree and all the projections he made, none of them came true. In fact, quite the opposite happened. he was also incredibly wrong with Trump's position vis-a-vis the Israelis and the Arabs. We actually got the Abraham Accords done under President Trump, despite what Friedman was saying. There's a list of examples. So I don't really take Friedman that seriously. The mainstream media and liberals can, but anybody that studies foreign policy knows his record is absolute garbage. As far as Ukraine, the issue with Ukraine is not what we're doing now. The issue is really what we didn't do in the build-up to Russian aggression. Had we been very clear, we may have been able to stop the Russians from going in. Remember when Biden said he could tolerate a quote-unquote minor incursion? That just whetted Putin's appetite. And the fact that we didn't get the MiG-22s, they're still not there. The fact that we didn't get military arms sooner has led to this. So I wish we would have been a lot more bold in the lead up to the war. We probably could have prevented this. But you know what? We're paying the price here at home, Todd, with the gas prices, which, yes, a lot of it is due to Ukraine, but a lot of it is just bad energy policy. But who really is going to pay the price are developing countries, especially Africa, when you have grain shortages because all the disruptions in Ukraine. So again, the American left, because of their inadequacies and their mistakes, the people that pay the price are working class Americans and members of the developing world in places like Africa.
You see, I think the average American, though, at this juncture, they're watching Zelensky doing the photo shoots with Annie Leibovitz. They're watching, the Cannes Film Festival appearances. They're seeing the music festivals coming out where people are just appearing to have a good time and going on with life as normal. And then we are being forced as taxpayers to foot more than $8 billion of the bill. And I don't see an end to this coming anytime soon.
No, and that's why, remember early on, I was on your program talking about the need to have a no-fly zone. And a lot of people thought that was a little bit too aggressive. But the no-fly zone would have brought an end to this war incredibly quickly. And it would have allowed the Ukrainians to expel the Russians. But because we're always doing things too late and to a lesser extent that we need to, much like we did in Vietnam, where McNamara was trying to ratchet up slowly, that's not the American way. The American way is for deterrence and for overwhelming force that you saw from Schwarzkopf in the first Gulf War and the policy that Colin Powell later adopted. We have abandoned those principles, and now we're showing weakness and vacillation and incrementalism in war, and that's never good. Now, as far as the cause celeb about Ukraine, I'm going to look back when Communist China invades Taiwan and see if everybody is virtue signaling for Taiwan. I hope they are, but it seems quite amazing that the American left picks and chooses which democracies they want to support. Conservatives like myself have been incredibly consistent that we support free nations like Taiwan, Ukraine, et cetera, in the face of aggression. The Democrats pick and choose their outrage and who they want to support.
No, I hear you on that, Congressman. But I step back and I see the Biden administration, and they want to make sure every Ukrainian is armed and that their border is secure. Meanwhile, back home, our border is open, and they're trying to take everybody's guns away. It's a lot of mixed messaging going on.
Yeah, well, let me rephrase. I don't want to have an open pocketbook, an open checkbook toward Ukraine. If we're going to get involved, we should get involved by ratcheting up a no-fly zone, by getting the MiGs, and actually giving the Ukrainians the ability to win this war. And if that means we institute a no-fly zone, then maybe we should. It should mean that we're jamming the Russian equipment. But we have chosen the path that is the worst path. We had three options. One, do nothing, and the war would have been over quickly. Two, have the no-fly zone and increase military pressure, which would have brought an end to the war quickly. Or three, which was the worst option, which is to kind of do everything halfway, which is what we're doing now, and that's leading to increased misery, both human suffering and economic pain throughout the world. But the fact that our southern border is in chaos, it's not an either-or choice. We can provide more military assistance to Ukraine and defend the southern border. It's not an either or. We're the most powerful nation in the world. We should be defending and protecting our southern border. Yes, it's hypocritical that liberals are upset about the border in Ukraine, but they care nothing about the southern border. It's hypocritical, but it's a false choice to say it's one or the other.
All right, Congressman, we're going to leave it there. Good stuff as always. Appreciate your time this afternoon.
Thank you, Todd. Take care.